You ever wonder why she's physically with you, but emotionally somewhere else? Why you do everything right, stay loyal, show up, sacrifice, yet still feel like you're not the one she truly wants? It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to see what's actually happening. Here's a hard pill most men never swallow. You're not just dating her, you're fighting against him. Not her ex, not some guy at her gym, not a dude texting her at 2 a.m. No, you're losing to a man who's not even around anymore, a man who might be married now, a man she hasn't seen in a decade, a man who was only in her life for a short moment, but still owns real estate in her memory. She doesn't talk about him. She doesn't even think about him consciously. But when you hold her, and she still feels distant, that's him, the ghost, the man she couldn't fully capture, the one who never made her his world, the one who had fire, direction, gravity, and let her orbit it, but never own it. You wonder why you're giving her everything, but it still feels like you're losing her, because you are. Not to someone better looking, not to someone richer, but to someone she could never fully possess. And unless you understand what made him unforgettable, you'll stay stuck as just another placeholder, another nice guy she appreciates today and forgets tomorrow. So the question is, are you ready to stop chasing her approval and start becoming the ghost she can never erase? Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why that man haunts her and how you can become him. Most men get this part completely wrong. They think the way to make a woman never forget them is to put her at the very center of their universe. They text back within seconds. They cancel their plans when she suddenly becomes available. They rearrange their entire schedule around her whims. They bend their lives to orbit hers, convinced that this level of devotion will make them unforgettable. But it doesn't. In fact, it does the opposite. When you hand a woman the crown before the race has even started, she doesn't feel like she's won anything. There's no chase, no mystery, no sense of conquest. And what's given freely without any fight or effort will never be valued the same way as what has to be earned. That's why so many men become nothing more than a faint memory, a name that eventually fades from her lips. The man she never forgets operates differently. His obsession isn't with her. His obsession is with something much bigger than her. His mission, his craft, his purpose, his dream. He pours his fire into building, creating, mastering, conquering. And when she sees that, something stirs inside her. A primal instinct, a spark of competition. She looks at him and thinks, how can he focus so deeply, with that much passion, and not directed at me? That question drives her wild. It pulls her into pursuit mode, because now she wants to capture that energy, redirect that obsession, claim a piece of it for herself. This is where the ghost begins to form. He becomes unforgettable, not because he drowned her in attention, but because he withheld it, without even trying. His attention was already claimed by his purpose, and that made the moments he gave her shine like rare treasures. She never got the whole of him. She got pieces, flashes, glimpses. And years later, decades later, it's those fragments that haunt her. She remembers the way he came back from hours of deep work, eyes burning, and then turned that intensity on her like she was the reward, not the source. She remembers feeling like she was competing with his mission, and even when she won, she never won completely. That unfinished conquest leaves a permanent scar. Every man who came after him, every man who gave her all his attention, all his time, all his life, pales in comparison. The men who text constantly, who make her their obsession, who abandon their goals just to sit at her feet, they never last in her memory. They blur together. They vanish. because their love was too easy, too complete, too forgettable. So here's the paradox no one teaches men. Women don't want to be your obsession from the start. They want to earn it. They want to fight for it. They want to feel like they captured something rare, something you weren't willing to hand over for free. That's why the man obsessed with his purpose becomes the ghost, the standard she compares every man to, long after he's gone. And that's why, if you want to leave a mark, you can't make her your world. You have to make your world bigger than her, and let her compete for a place inside it. Obsession alone isn't enough. A man can be full of passion, but if that passion has no direction, it burns out fast. Women are surrounded by men who drift, men who hate their jobs but never build anything better. Men who say they'll figure it out someday, but never take the wheel of their own lives. Men who exist, but never create. And nothing is more forgettable than a man with no destination. He might be fun for a while, he might keep her company, but he never leaves a mark. He never becomes the ghost. The man she never forgets doesn't just talk about dreams, he ties his entire life to them. He turns vague ideas into concrete goals. He has something he's chasing, and she can feel it in his presence. It's not just attraction, it's survival wiring. For thousands of years, women were drawn to men who could build, who could hunt, who could create security out of nothing. That instinct hasn't disappeared. A man without vision feels like stagnation, like a decay. A man with vision feels like momentum, like growth, like a future worth joining. That's why when she meets a man with real goals, it lights up something inside her that no amount of good looks or sweet words can touch. When women talk about the men they can't forget, listen carefully. They never say, "I miss how lazy he was." They never say, "It was so attractive how he drifted through life with no direction." No, they talk about the man who was building something, even if he hadn't built it yet. They remember the one who stayed up late because his project consumed him, the one whose eyes burned with certainty when he described what he was creating. That energy imprints itself deeper than any bouquet of flowers or late-night text ever could. I once heard a woman admit something heartbreaking. She left her husband when he was broke, grinding on a startup that seemed like it would never take off. Years later, that same man became a multi-millionaire. She remarried a safe, stable accountant who loved her, provided for her, never gave her a reason to worry. But when she was honest, she admitted she still thought about her ex. Not because of his money now, but because of the fire he had when he was chasing it. Her new husband had comfort, but no vision, no fire. And in her words, he was nice, reliable, loving, and forgettable. That's the paradox. Even when chasing your goal steals time away from her, even when it demands sacrifice, even when it means less attention, the fire itself is irresistible. Because she knows she can never fully own it. She can never fully own you. And that impossibility, that little piece she can't control, is what makes you unforgettable. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just live, build. Don't just dream. Set the goal that scares you. Chase it like your life depends on it. Because in her subconscious, it does. And before we move on to the next truth, I want you to pause right here. If this is hitting you, if you feel that sting in your chest, make sure you're following this channel. Drop a comment and tell me if you've ever felt that quiet distance from a woman. The distance that tells you you're not the man she can't forget. I read every single one, and trust me, the next part is going to cut even deeper. There's another quality that separates the man she forgets from the man who becomes her ghost. It's not how much money he has, and it's not how charming he can be. It's how he treats his time. A man who wastes his hours, who waits around, who drops everything at her call, tells her something without even saying it. His time is worthless. And if his time is worthless, he is worthless. That truth cuts deep, but you know it's real. Most men believe the opposite. They think being always available is the ultimate sign of love. They wait hours while she gets ready. They cancel their plans when she changes hers. They stay up all night just to answer every text. They think this proves devotion, but in reality it proves desperation. It tells her, "My life has no purpose unless it revolves around you." And that is the fastest way to become forgettable. Now, imagine the man she never forgets. He doesn't wait. If she's late, he leaves. If she cancels, he doesn't sulk. He makes other plans. If she tries to waste his time with drama, he simply doesn't play. Not because he's cruel, not because he doesn't care, but because he understands something most men never will. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Money can be earned again. Health can sometimes be restored. But time? Once it's gone forever. And when she sees a man live that truth, when she sees him guard his hours like treasure, she feels it in her bones. This man is valuable. That flips the entire dynamic. Instead of him waiting for her, she adapts to him. She shows up on time because she knows he won't. She respects his schedule because she knows he'll walk away. And years later, when she looks back, she doesn't remember the men who gave her endless hours. She remembers the man who made her earn a piece of his time. I once heard a woman describe her regret. She dated a surgeon whose time was scarce. Dates had to be planned weeks in advance. If she was more than 15 minutes late, he was already gone, back to the hospital or on to something else. She hated it then, said he was rigid and cold. But a decade later, married to a man who has nothing but free time, she admitted the truth. With the surgeon, every minute felt like it mattered. With her husband, it feels like they have forever to waste. And it feels empty. That's the difference. Scarcity creates value. When your time is guarded, so are you. And the man who treats every hour as precious becomes unforgettable. So let me ask you, have you ever been the man who waits? Have you ever given up hours you'll never get back, just to please someone who didn't even respect it? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear it. And if this cuts you even a little, hit follow right now, because the next part is going to rip deeper than this, and you don't want to miss it. There's another quality that makes a man unforgettable, and it's one most men avoid at all costs. The man she never forgets is comfortable being alone, not just tolerating it, not just enduring it. He actually enjoys it. That one difference changes everything. Most men can't handle silence. They can't handle themselves. The moment a relationship ends, they rush into another. They treat women like life rafts, desperate to escape the waters of solitude. And when a man is terrified of being alone, it shows. He becomes clingy. He becomes needy. He texts nonstop. He begs for reassurance. He panics when she needs space. Every woman has seen this. And every woman forgets these men the instant they're gone. Because they were never whole. They were never individuals. They were just fragments looking for someone to patch them up. Now picture the man she can't erase. He lives differently. He can spend days by himself and come out stronger. He has a rich inner life, hobbies, passions, rituals that have nothing to do with her. He doesn't need company to feel alive. When he says, "I'm great alone, I'm better with you, but I'm great alone," he means it. And that hits her subconscious like a tidal wave, because in that moment she realizes he doesn't choose her out of need. He chooses her out of abundance. His presence is a gift, not a cry for validation. That choice flips the balance, because when a man shows he's fine on his own, paradoxically, she needs him more. She knows she doesn't complete him. She knows he was already complete before she arrived. And that makes him magnetic. She fights harder to hold on. She invests more because she knows she's not holding a broken man together. She's trying to keep up with one who's already whole. Contrast that with the man who can't handle solitude. The moment he makes her his survival, the balance tips. She becomes too important, and he becomes disposable. Attraction dies, respect fades, and memory erases him as if he was never there. But the man who thrives in solitude, he stays. He stays because he represented strength she couldn't fully capture. He becomes the ghost she carries with her long after he's gone. So let me ask you, are you the man who fears silence, who jumps from one relationship to the next just to feel okay? Or are you the man who can stand strong in solitude, who can choose love from fullness, not emptiness? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because I want to know how many men here are brave enough to face themselves. And don't just scroll past, hit follow, because the next part will expose a truth most men never dare to face, and you don't want to miss it. There's another trait that separates the man who vanishes from memory and the man who becomes her ghost. It's his complete absence of fear when it comes to losing her. Most men live with that fear gnawing at their bones. They fear the day she walks away. They fear rejection. They fear being replaced. And that fear bleeds into everything they do. It makes them text too much. It makes them overthink every word. It makes them bend over backwards to avoid conflict, apologize for things they don't believe in, and beg for love that should be freely given. All because they are terrified of losing her. But here's the brutal truth. The moment a woman senses that fear, her respect for him begins to die. She may not say it. She may not even realize it consciously. But deep in her wiring, she knows fear signals weakness. And weakness does not attract her. Weakness breeds contempt. Now think of the man she never forgets. He plays by different rules. When she threatens to leave, he doesn't beg. When she gives ultimatums, he doesn't fold. When she tests him, he doesn't panic. If she packs her things, he helps her carry the bags. Not because he doesn't care, not because he wanted it to end, but because his life doesn't collapse without her. His identity doesn't crumble when she walks out the door. His value doesn't depend on her staying. And that calm indifference drives her insane, because she realizes she cannot control him. She cannot manipulate him with ultimatums. She cannot weaponize the threat of walking away. The only way to keep him is to actually bring value, to earn his choice every day. And that changes everything. Years later, she will remember him, not as the man who needed her, but as the man who never did. She'll remember the fire in her chest when she realized she couldn't break him. And that memory, that frustration, that hunger, it lingers. That's what makes him unforgettable. That's what makes him her ghost. I've spoken to women who admitted they still think about men they left decades ago. They tried every test, every threat, every power move, and nothing worked. He just kept living. He kept thriving, and they never got over it. One woman told me she left a man expecting him to chase, to fall apart, to beg. A month later, she saw him laughing with friends, looking better than ever. She said it broke something inside her, because in that moment, she realized he never needed her at all. He only ever chose her. And when she left, he simply chose differently. So let me ask you, are you the man who fears losing her, or the man who knows he'll be fine either way? Drop your answer in the comments, because I want to see how many men here are ready to face the truth. And don't forget to hit follow right now, because the last piece of this puzzle will show you the ultimate reason women honor some men forever, and erase others like they never existed. The last quality that makes a man unforgettable is how the world sees him beyond the relationship. This is where most men fail. They pour every ounce of their energy into a woman and forget that life is bigger than her. They stop building. They stop leading. They stop being wanted or respected anywhere else. And when no one else demands their time, she stops valuing it too. Because if the world doesn't want you, why should she? Now picture the man she never forgets. He lives in a bigger universe. He's not orbiting her. She's orbiting him. He has friends who look to him for advice. He has a career or a mission that requires his focus. He has family that relies on his strength. He has passions that showcase his mastery. His life is full, whether she is in it or not. And that fullness makes him magnetic. Here's the paradox. The more the world wants him, the more valuable his presence becomes to her. When she sees others competing for his time, she realizes she's not entitled to it. She has to earn it like everyone else. And those rare moments he chooses to give her become unforgettable. Scarcity always creates value. Think about it. The man who has no friends, no hobbies, no purpose outside of her. He's easy to forget. He fades because the world never validated him. He existed only through her. But the man who walks into a room and is recognized, respected, admired, that's the man who lingers in her memory. Because he wasn't just valuable to her, he was valuable to everyone. I've heard women admit this years after moving on. One told me about an ex who was building his own business. Everyone wanted his time. Even though their relationship was short, she still thinks about him decades later. Why? Because she saw how other people needed him, respected him, chased after him. Her husband, she confessed, is stable, reliable, devoted, but invisible, loved only by her. And the difference between those two men still haunts her. This is the secret. Women don't just want a man who loves them. They want a man the world also loves, respects, and demands. Because when she earns a piece of his attention, it feels like victory. It feels like she won something no one else could. And that victory brands him into her memory forever. So ask yourself, are you building a life so rich and demanded that she becomes part of it? Or are you making her your entire world and nothing more? Drop your answer in the comments. Let me know if you're the man the world also respects, or if you've been the one who disappears because no one else sees your value. And if you're serious about becoming the man she never forgets, hit follow right now, because what comes next will tie everything together and show you how to become the ghost that lives in her mind forever. When you put all of this together, something powerful happens. You stop being just another man she dated, another name in her history, another shadow she leaves behind. You become the standard. You become the ghost, the one she measures every other man against, long after you're gone. Think about it. The man she forgets is the one who made her his obsession, the one who abandoned his mission to orbit around her, the one who wasted his time waiting, the one who couldn't stand being alone, the one who trembled at the thought of losing her, the one no one else respected or demanded. That man fades quickly. He dissolves the moment someone new shows up. He becomes a blur, a placeholder, a name she barely remembers. But the man she remembers forever? He's different. He was obsessed with his purpose, not her. He had goals that consumed him, and he chased them relentlessly. He guarded his time like treasure. He thrived in solitude, proving he didn't need anyone to complete him. He lived without fear of loss, never clinging, never begging. And he was valuable to the world beyond her, respected, wanted, admired. That man becomes impossible to replace. He becomes the ghost she carries with her for the rest of her life. even if she leaves him, even if she marries someone else, even if she builds a new life. When she lies awake at night, she compares. The new man texts too much. She remembers the one who was too busy building. The new man makes her his world. She remembers the one she could never fully capture. The new man fears losing her. She remembers the one who calmly helped her pack. Every comparison cuts the same way, and every comparison leads back to him. Here's the truth. Most men will never embody this. Most will remain forgettable. They'll keep giving too much, waiting too long, fearing too deeply, and they'll vanish from memory the moment the next man arrives. But you have a choice. You can become different. You can become the ghost, the man she never stops measuring against, the man she honors, even if she can't have you. So let me ask you, who are you going to be? The man she forgets, or the man she can never erase? Drop your answer in the comments because I want to know who's ready to step into this. And don't just scroll past. Hit follow right now. Because if you're serious about becoming that man, this is just the beginning.